This is unbelievable. Hunting the fives in Genesis, it is so overwhelming. 5 is the number of joy, and I'm in the Hebrew, which is so dripping with fives, it'll make you cry your eyes out. Remember, 5 is the number of joy, and so God's saying, let us make man in our image. This is so loaded. This is so loaded. This is so mathematically maximum for 5. It's tear-jerking. So the word let us make, to make, that 3-glyph root, every glyph divides by 5, adding to 375, which is a triple of 5 times 5 times 5. To make something, to make someone. And that's why I'm screaming out to the universe that every skeleton God made is shaped like a 5. Forward-looking head, turnable neck, and then chest, torso area. Whether it's a quadruped like a cheetah or a human that is upright, we all have the 5 stamp. By his design, 5, the number of joy, because everything was created for God's joy and still exists for God's joy. So let us make man. The word man in Hebrew divides by 5. It's 45, a triple of 15. And that begins with ad, which is 1 plus 4 equals 5, and it ends with 40. Let us make Adam, man, 5s. So I'm here to tell you that human skeletal structure is based on a 5. Forward-looking head, vertical neck, chest, rib cage, torso. And then, of course, we have the 5 appendages, head and 4 limbs, 5 fingers and toes, yada yada. But the main thing I want to preach, the main thing that is common to all skeletons, insects, birds, fish, amphibians, reptiles, okay, you name it. Forward-looking head, turnable neck, vertical, and then body. Okay, all for God's joy, the number 5. This camera is going to run out of battery power, but I can plug it in. Let us make man in our image, and then the word image divides by 5. Now this gets even crazier, because when God says let us make, now that puts another 50 in front of the root of make. So you already had the screaming 5s, and then he puts another 50 in front of that for let us make man, then the 45. These are the most sacred letters in the universe. This is our history. This is how we came to be. And what God thinks about this whole process. And the number 5 that exists today. It's so beautiful. This is just over 6,000 years ago that God spoke these words. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So, even the word likeness is 450. These are screamingly beautiful 5s. The word image in Hebrew is 160. The word likeness in Hebrew is beautiful. 4 plus 6 gets married to make 10. Then you have that's flanking of 40, begins with joy, then adds another 400 on the end. Let us make man in our image, 5s. After our likeness, 5s. 5 is the number of joy. 5s are at the center of God and Jehovah. Every letter in joy divides by 5. It's all for God's pleasure. Remember, the Bible tells us in Revelation that everything exists, okay, for God's, literally it says it exists because of God's will, but people liken that to God did it for his pleasure because it pleased him to do so. It brought him joy. And we analyzed the word pleasure in Gematria, found the screaming 5s, and desire, same thing. Will. It's and most of the last letter, like when you pluralize something in Hebrew, waters is pure 5s. Almost always the last letter in every Hebrew construct is a letter that divides by 5, like the earth, you know, like